Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to another 3000 GT vr4 video. It's been about a couple of months since I last posted a full video update on this car. I posted a couple of videos regarding last preparation before plastic welding the front bumper and how to plastic weld. The reason I like to plastic weld the way I showed is because that way uh, both components that are being grafted and plastic weld together stay as true as possible. And when I start preparing this bumper for paint, it's gonna take minimal amount of Bondo because everything is pretty as even as it can be. So a couple of more things I did along with the plastic welding the bumper, but let me just take you around the car and we'll walk around as I'm explaining what has happened. Now, first thing that is different is both fenders and the upper section of the bumper from a parts car that I acquired, and that was absolutely a must because this section of the bumper that I had originally on my car had been into an accident here in that area, so it was gonna take tremendous amount of time to try to fix this corner. So even that I was using just that top little section, it still had quite a bit of damage. Here was all bent, and it was really the way to go. That saves me a ton of time by just replacing those parts. This fender also was hit here, and despite being just a little scratch, it actually caused the whole thing to kind of change shape. So a very big plus to actually have this parts car and get all the parts from it. Of course, that came with a price. I had to spend the time again to line up both fenders and headlights and everything, and that's at the same time that I'm grafting a bumper that it's supposed to kind of line up according to where this sits in space. So it took quite a bit of time to line everything up and fix all the gaps and get them as close as possible. I actually used the hood from the parts car here to line up the fenders and the bumper as close as possible before I put this second gen hood in place, which, as you know, I'm working on this hood. I got it off so while I got it off for a while, I worked on the parts that go under this section. I'm gonna open the hood at some point, and in this video I'm gonna show you what is currently mocked up there. But ultimately I lined up the gaps as best as I could. So yeah, here is the final plastic welding seam. It's pretty wide in this section because I cut this piece a little bit short and I had to add plastic here, but that's fine. It's not, this is probably one of the sections that got the lowest. I can always add plastic here before I start putting Bondo in. But yeah, this is roughly how the seam looks like. And something to say here that I forgot to mention: before you start plastic welding and trying to push a net inside the plastic, make sure you get rid of all the paint. You will have hell of a hard time if you try to push the nets through the paint. What happens is the plastic under the paint melts, and the paint acts like a barrier, so it's a big no-no. So paint has to be cleaned and then push the net in. So before I start putting Bondo here, I'm gonna even out the edges in this manner. Bondo has to gradually even out with the surface, not start putting Bondo now and have a huge kind of a borderline here. If I would put Bondo now and even out and just fill up this section, eventually it will crack here. This is why it has to be gradually coming even with the surface. So I don't have a straight edge now, but this is probably gonna take a millimeter or two, in some places a little bit more, but yeah, ultimately this is now fully plastic weld together. I also removed the bumper and I melted the seam on the back side, so now I can installed it, and now I can pretty much start preparing this section for Bondo. That is the other place that will require a bit more work to fix, and the rest is just spending the time to Bondo the bumper and prepare it, make it as straight as possible. This is a chunk of plastic is missing here. I have to cut a strip and recover it. But yeah, this is the final look. This section here, so this section here will gradually even out with the front of the bumper, and these lines will just end here in the same manner like this line ends. This line up to 94 bumpers comes all the way across the front of the car, and they decided to end it here in the last couple of different variations of the front bumpers for these cars, and kind of gives the car a little more cleaner look. So in the same manner these will end. I'm still missing actually one piece. I'm missing here. There's a dam. If any of you watching and have one of these air dams that fit under this 99 bumper, please contact me. I'll be happy to purchase that from you. That is pretty much the last piece that I'm missing from this conversion. I also spend the time here to tint the snake eyes and the turn signals. I use this Vivid tint. I mentioned that tint on one of the previous videos. It's really not a bad product, but it needs to have a little bit of a stronger adhesive because it's not holding well on the edges. It holds fine when it's cold, but as soon as the sun hits it and starts pulling up, and I spend the time here to wash this light, and went ahead and wipe off the edge with rubbing alcohol just so it's as clean as possible, and make sure that this will stick, but it's just not strong enough. And on turn signal, when it's shaped like that, it holds well, but when it's inverted like this, see, it pulls up here. And yeah, I mean, for tail lights and for the turn signals it will work well. For snake eyes, I mean, even it pulls up, actually it hides a lot of the cracks. As you can see, snake eyes are always cracking in this area, and considering the age of these cars, it's pretty much impossible to find anything that is in better shape at this point. So I sanded the letters and numbers, so I have a cleaner look. If you apply this film on top of letters and numbers, it just doesn't look very nice. So I don't know if I said that already. This is product by Vivid. It's I think it's called a headlight tint. This is their light smoke, so you can still see the color. I will rotate to the back. I'll show you the whole rear tail lights, and the center section has been tinted with that, and it holds well. But right here, when it pulls the edge, now I'm gonna cut it along the edge so I don't have this. So yeah, this is how everything fits in the front. Now it's time to focus on the repairing this section here on the front bumper, and working on matching the hood with the pop-up headlights, and yeah, basically focus on getting the car ready for paint. I try to not get too sidetracked with other stuff, but it's really impossible, considering there's always something to do. I spent quite a few days trying to align this car for the last week. Aligned it as good as possible, but I'm chasing the caster on the right hand side is a little less than the left hand side, and it causes a slight pull to the right. Not too bad, but it's enough to notice. So I have to work on that at some point. But yeah, let's move on to the next thing. Kind of a major thing that I modified here, and this is a racing seat that I managed to install on the stock seat frame. It's a really interesting story. This was for sale on Facebook here locally, and I went to look at this seat, and the guy opened his garage and my jaw dropped on the ground. It was a couple of Mustangs. One was SVT, the other one is kind of a newer Mustang. I'm not really big on the different variations of Mustang, but he had a Daytona Shelby also inside the one of the cells, and this seat actually came out of that car. It was owned by the previous owner that used this seat on track days, and the current owner didn't really fit well in this seat, and I understand why. Even this seat being a little bit wider here on that section. I think the model is called Saker. If you're a little bit on the plus side, you'll have kind of a hard time fitting your lower back in the seat. I fit just right if I'm not wearing too many clothes, but yeah, it's a very nice seat. It's a full tub seat, and I built a structure underneath that bolted onto the bottom part here on the seat frame. I wanted to install it temporary to see how I like it. It doesn't look too bad. I just have to build here something to support the back, have some kind of a support the back of the seat. But it's one of those modifications that you may really like and you may really hate, because you don't have as much cushioning as the stock seat, and it's plus and minus. You feel a little more connected to the car because you have a lot more input from the suspension when you drive. But with that being said, you also feel every bump on the road, and it's not very nice if you drive a long time on a bumpy road. I drove this car 20 miles a day for the last week, and it started getting annoying in some ways. Getting in and out of the car now requires a seat to be moved back and forth every time, and you kind of have to go in right hand, right shoulder, and head in first, and then sit, because you have to get away from that section. You can't just sit on the seat and just pull the rest of your body in. That's no longer really an option. So yeah, for now it's installed. I don't really hate it that much. Like I said, it gets annoying sometimes if you have to pull the car in or pull it out, and just if you have to get in and out 3-4 times in a matter of 10 minutes, it's a little bit irritating. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this modification, and if you like to see a video of what was done underneath in order to make this fit. I will have this seat out at some point, so it will be an opportunity to make a video and show you. The other thing I wanted to show here is I finally got the boost gauge, and show you that's about driver point of view. I'm very happy with the result of this modification. It's much nicer than having the gauges here on the A pillar. Really keeps this section clean, and it doesn't take your eyes off the road. And if you don't look at your gauges, you just simply look down like you're supposed to. Actually, even these here on the sides kind of they're not constantly in front of you, so I kind of had to learn to pay attention on the temperature and the oil pressure. They're pretty important. But yeah, that's it for this one. And on this side I still have to mock up the second generation side skirt. But here's the last interesting thing that I acquired here. This was really hard to find. This is a 96 Dodge Stealth spoiler. I really like the way the Stealth spoiler looks on these cars. I like it because it takes the shape of the window here instead of just being back here. And these cars actually have a natural spoiler here on the trunk, so it's personal preference. I absolutely love it, and some of you guys may hate it, but I really love the way it looks, and actually kind of leaves space in between versus on the Stealth the frame comes down to here like so the spoiler kind of blends in with everything, and here it has space between this B pillar and the spoiler, so it stands out more, and it actually looks a lot better with the second gen side skirt. I'll show you how it looks on the other side. And here's about mocking up. You should always mock up everything when you're changing components, despite the fact that they're coming out of the same model car. You can see here this bumper doesn't fit quite well here. It doesn't really fit flush, so you have to play with that and make it fit flush before I pull this bumper out and get it ready for paint. So here's how the rear looks. So here's this side. I'm currently mocking up the second gen side skirt. You can see here. This is how this section looks like. I really like how this fit with the big pillar and the spoiler. Also here, the side skirt, as you can see, is quite a bit of gap here. So that is because the shape here on the fender, it doesn't match very well the shape of the side skirt. So now I gotta remove it and straighten up here this section so I can push this a little bit further forward, and so it will come in flush. So yeah, that's about it. I finally got this unobtainium wing. Here's the thank you Mark for willing to ship this thing over across the country. I know it was a pain, and of course it was stressful whether he's gonna make it in one piece or not. But yeah, if you guys are looking for 96 spoilers for from Dodge Stealth, there's a guy currently in the forum that I think he has 4 replicas for sale, so you can go in the parts for sale section and contact him. So yeah, this is it. This is where this car is at this point, and summer is coming, so it's gonna be a lot of sanding and preparation for paint. I'm currently also moving into a different shop which happen to have a paint shop on the premises there nearby. So I'll talk to the guy and see what is he gonna charge me to paint this car. But yeah, this is it for now. Just thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Bye for now. I'll see you on the next one.